So joining me now on Zoom, we have Larry and Kay Woodcock. I wanted to talk with you guys. Kay, I saw what you wrote on Facebook the other day, how it was a year ago that you said JJ was with you, Larry, I believe in Louisiana, right?
That is correct.
And Kay, you were with Charles in Arizona. And what happened?
Well, we were packing and packing up his house to get him, to move back to Houston. And that was the day that Lori came waltzing in the house. Like, it was amazing. She just walked in and just started fussing at him. And I mean, for her to, then it just really, I was like, what the heck is wrong with her? And then he was sitting down, and as she's talking to him, her back was to me. She had her hands on her hips. What are you doing? Why are you moving? What? I can't believe this. Why are you keeping JJ from me? And it was just on and on. And he said, look, I'm moving. JJ and I are moving because your family has totally gone away, just like you did. They won't talk to us. They won't nothing. And so I'm moving to be close to my family. And she said, what family? And he said, my family in Louisiana. And she goes, what family? And I was like, what the heck? What does she think we are? Like, he has no family? It was amazing how she just, like we didn't even exist. It was crazy. And so, I mean, she knew I was there after she turned around and stuff, but they talked for a while. And it was mostly her fussing loudly, but it just, after a little time, they went in the bedroom and talked, but I could still hear them outside, and because I was trying to give them a little privacy. But anyway, she ended, by the time she left, I was sitting at the kitchen table on the computer, and she walked over to me and she said, well, KK, because that's what she calls me, KK. And she said, well, KK, I said, Lori, I'm sorry that this has happened with y'all, and we can talk. And she said, I just miss you. And she started tears flowing. And I thought, okay, well, she never even cried when Charles was talking to her. But yet she's telling me, well, I miss you, KK. And she's crying. So I just thought that was weird because I don't know. It just, the whole thing was weird that day. But
And
it
Larry,
didn't, huh?
Oh, and Larry, you're there with JJ, not knowing that within a few months things are going to drastically change, that would be one of your last times with him.
Yeah. Well, it actually was my last extended stay with him. And, I think back on it often. And, I miss him terribly. And he is special to me. And I am so thankful that I had that week or so to be with him, just he and I, so that we could basically do what he wanted to do and whatever time he wanted to do it. And I thank God for that.
JJ had run of the house and run a pawpaw for a solid week.
A lot of
Where do you want to eat? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
So Charles and Lori worked things out, or at least, it appeared that they did after that argument, Kay?
No.
When
she came back, when she finally came to Houston, she was still blaming him for everything. They were not getting back together, but yet she was like, I'm not getting a divorce, because she had already had so many divorces. But she was like, we're not getting back together, but we're not getting divorced. So, he was kind of in limbo, he was in limbo. And he just, eventually, she broke him down, I guess is the best way to put it. And I mean, he happened to be due a huge insurance commission check. And And sure enough, within less than a week, when she got in Houston, he got that commission check, and I had access to one account, and that's the money that the commission check went into, the monies, and that money flew out of that account so quickly. And Charles was asking me for passwords for everything because I had changed all of that since he gave me management of the company money. And so I had changed everything where she couldn't access it. But then he ended up giving her all the passwords back, and he gave her the keys to the kingdom once again. And that money was gone in no time flat.
How
And
much are we talking?
I haven't even told, I don't know if I've even told the police that, but after his death, I think there was $9,000 in the checking account, in his business account, and $6,000 was moved out a day or two after. And then so that left 3,000 and change in there. And then a couple days after that, $3,000 went out of it, was withdrawn. And then Lori texted me or emailed me something and said, "Hey, KK, did you take the $3,000 out?" And I said, "No, I did not." And that was it. Like, she was, I know she got the money, but she was asking me if I got it, like somebody else took it, and it was just her taking the money and trying not to look bad, I guess. I don't know.
How do you spend all that money? That's a lot of money to withdraw all at once.
Yeah, that was nothing, that $9,000. That $6,000 to $3,000, that was nothing. She moved it to another account. They had other accounts I had no access to. So it's easy to go through money like that when you're paying everybody's way through life, and not just paying their bills, they were paying everybody else's bills.
Mm-hmm. So Kay, you mentioned the accounts. We talked about last week the story about the Amazon account and her ring.
Yeah.
And you were able to actually help the police with this aspect of the case. Were you startled at all when you logged onto that account and saw the ring, or did you realize it after the fact? How did that play out?
That was, wow. That was a day that I'll never forget because I stayed right here on my computer for 12 hours. I stopped to eat one time, and that whole day, and I was on the phone with our private investigator, Rich, with our Chandler detective, with Brandon's Gilbert detective, with I don't think I was talking to the FBI then. So that was on November the 8th when I discovered this stuff. So absolutely, I went through every email and every account that I could get into because I knew his, his favorite passwords. And so it was usually one of three passwords. And so, I was able to manipulate things that way and I got into accounts that, I had access to before, but then after Lori took things over, she changed everything again to where I didn't have access to them. So
on November the 8th, did you know that she and Chad had been married? Because that was within a few days there.
No, I did not know that at that time.
But you saw the searches for the wedding apparel, things like that.
Yes. That was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So, once I let law enforcement know, they, they were able to get it their own way. I mean, I guess they couldn't get it from me and it be legitimate, or I don't know how that works, but they were able to get it however they get it.
Was she tech savvy? Like, would she be tech savvy enough to delete text messages or clear histories on computers, things like that?
She could delete text messages. Things are easy like that. But to think that she never even thought that those emails are going to the Google account, that Charles's Gmail account, that was pretty short-sighted on her part. But yeah, that's par for the course because that's just how she was. She didn't get that kind of stuff.
Some of the other things that have come out since we last spoke, the papers that Brandon Boudreaux down in Arizona filed, including an 8-page document that Ian Pawlowski, the new husband of Brandon's ex, wrote apparently after he met with the police, describing the religious beliefs that Lori apparently has, and frankly bizarre teachings about this type of stuff. And they talk about zombies and dark spirits, and it seems to insinuate that JJ and Tylee became zombies or became dark spirits. When you all found that out, I can imagine that's not the most encouraging news to hear.
Well, I had known a few things before that about the light and dark spirits, and Brandon had talked to me at length about all of that stuff, although I couldn't explain it back to you right now if I tried, but because I don't understand the basic fundamental LDS, but although I do know that is not LDS doctrine. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he explained it to me, and it did scare me terribly, because how can JJ, a little 7-year-old, go from light to dark? Go from a good person and a good. It just makes no sense in my mind. With that, and then when I saw that Ring doorbell video that Garna had done a story about, that scared me to death. That just. And finding out that she was telling neighbors that he was her niece's drug baby, not her son, that just, oh my God, that just shows me how she was distancing herself from him, like to maybe make it easier for her to do something to him. I don't know. I don't know, but that just scared us to
That's actually been the lowest point.
It has in all of this.
Even lower and more hurtful than the death of Charles. How low can you get? How I just don't understand it. And I know that at one time, she loved JJ. That was always obvious. But for her to say that is not the person that has a loving capability of a mother. And I truly, I don't understand it. And it is absolutely the lowest point of this entire investigation for us.
And the video you're talking about is Garna from KSL got it. Was the Ring video of the neighbor, and you can hear JJ uncharacteristically swearing and acting as if he wasn't on his medication, which police then in court documents say that she had not filled up his medication to help with his behavioral issue.
And I can't understand that, because that would have made him unruly, just very out of control, just angry, and all these feelings that he has without that medication. And so for him to not be taking it, it would have made her life incredibly easier, so much more easier than it would with him not taking it. And so the only reason I can think of her not giving it to him is either, number one, she didn't know where it was, or number two, she didn't want to feel it because maybe she didn't want anybody to know where they were. Or she was keeping him, letting him be more agitating to keep her agitated, to keep her moving down the path she was on, which was a very dangerous homicidal path that she's been on since July.
Yeah. You mentioned, Larry, a minute ago about it being a lower point than when Charles died. Have you guys even had time to grieve or mourn his loss? This was back in July.
No.
I mean, do you think it's going to all come rushing into you one day when this is all over? Or how do you process all of these new developments along with dealing with the death of your brother, Kay?
Well, I guess I'm kind of weird in that way. I'm not a real emotional woman. You know how most women are very emotional, and I don't cry. I say I don't cry. I don't display publicly tears, or I don't know why I'm that way. I just am that way. And I do on occasion let it just comes out, and I don't have control. But Keith Morrison got me here while our last interview. I was like, okay, Keith, you got me. But I don't know, and I don't know, but I think that the floodgate's going to open one day, and then I'll deal with it.
Let's talk about the billboards that went up just a few days ago here in Idaho. There's 2 of them up along the way and maybe a digital one in rotation. People are seeing the pictures every day on the road. I saw it this morning driving to Rexburg. I guess that's kind of a relief, or you guys are behind this effort to maybe people that haven't seen this online or on TV can now be aware of the case.
Yeah, it was a wonderful gesture for Lamar Advertising. Kent Marlborough, I think is his name. My sister-in-law, Cheryl, had reached out because we wanted to get a couple of billboards for this reason. And when she reached out to him, and we had full intent of paying for it, but once we reached out and he said, no, we're going to tell me how you want it and we're going to put it up, no charge. And then he gave us a second one. And then I think there's an electronic one. I'm not exactly sure where it is. Is it by the college?
Yeah, somewhere around the college.
So, I mean, that just adds to the support we've gotten from the community in Rexburg. I mean, really, it's like, now when we go to Rexburg, it's like, I don't feel like we're going out of town. I feel like we're going to the second house over there, although it's a hotel. But I feel like we're going to our second home over there because that's how it feels. Everybody makes us feel very welcome.
Do you anticipate coming out to the preliminary hearing if it's still held in May, assuming the coronavirus is all taken care of?
We will be there.
We will be there.
And are you expecting any new developments between now and then?
Oh, you can never, with this case, you can never, ever make a guess, because if you guess, something's going to happen and it's going to be different than what you thought. So this case has been so unpredictable all the way through. So,
The main thing is that I want to say about the community and the billboards is just more or less reiterating what Kay said. Rexburg has really turned into our home away from home. The people are just so generous and they're so caring. It's just a pleasure to be up there dealing with the local authorities, the law enforcement, judicial system. I just can't imagine having to work in this case with any other groups. I mean, they're just good people.
Yeah.
And I mean, we just appreciate them and we pray for them. I mean, they're doing a hard job, but
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Like Rob and the prosecutor and the detectives and at any time we can call them and they're going to answer their phone. And if they don't, they will call me back quickly. And they answer our questions. They answer what questions they can.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of stuff they can't answer, but
and we respect that.
I understand that. So, when they say they can't say something, then okay, well,
we don't push it.
We don't. So, but they have been very forthcoming and understanding, and they're fully committed.
Yeah.
You guys,
and we have to thank people like yourself. I mean, y'all have bit on to this bone and have not turned loose of it. And there's so many people in the industry, in your industry, that just shows so much kindness and respect of what we're going through. Because I can well assure you that on a day-to-day basis, it is extremely tough on us. It's extremely tough on our families, and I just can't imagine somebody doing this and not having the overall support that we have. And so, as always, I know everybody, law enforcement, judicial systems, the media get a bad rap sometimes, but this is honestly, I can't give anybody a bad rap, and I won't, because I know how hard they're working. So I thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. You guys, I know since day one, have really made the focus on JJ and Tylee. And after Lori's first appearance a few weeks ago, that's all you wanted to talk about afterwards, that these kids are still missing. Knowing what's come to light with these court documents, the zombies, all of that. I mean, the billboards are still up. Are you still holding out hope?
I'll hold out hope until they close the door on my casket. I will never give up the hope that JJ will be returned to us. And I just can't imagine. We have our low moments, and don't think we don't.
Since we got home from this last trip to Rexburg, it's been it's been 3 weeks now, I think, since like March 7th or so we've been home. Yeah. And this is the longest we've been home since the end of December, number one. And so honestly, when we got back from there, I stayed in bed pretty much for a week solid, just exhausted and depressed too, I suppose. And it just all caught up. It all caught up with me for sure, but he's got more energy than I do.
Well, you both have been tireless advocates, and I appreciate you speaking with me. Is there anything that you want to clear up, or any message that you want to get out, particularly today? It's kind of been a few weeks since there's been some news about the kids, and this can kind of put it back out there. But anything that you guys want to discuss?
Just, Lori, tell us where the kids are. Chad, tell us where the kids are. It's the same request. The longer it goes that Lori doesn't talk about them, that's more my worry, because if she knew where they were, if she knew and Chad knew where they were, why would they not say something? Because she's claiming that this is a custody issue.
It has nothing to do with custody.
It has nothing to do with that. I've read, and I'm getting this from stuff I've read, that she told people that it was a custody issue, that we were going to get JJ back and give him to his biological mom and dad. And that couldn't be any further than the truth. And she knows that.
And she knows it.
And so let's just say that was my reasoning for it. no court in the world would go through with this custody thing without vetting us first.
That experience you had a year ago, was that the last time you saw Lori?
That is the last time I saw her.
And that's the last time you spent time with JJ?
It was the next, yeah, it was the next day because we had put all of her and her and Tylee's stuff in Tylee's little casita there in the front of the house, so they could get it and move it. But yeah, that was the last time I saw her.
Is there any message that you want to get out today as you talk to the people of Eastern Idaho?
I want the public to be aware, to keep looking for the kids, because honestly, our take on all of this stuff is I don't care. I don't care what happens to Lori. I don't care what happens to Chad. I don't care if they ever face a day in jail. I really don't. I want to know where the kids are.
One way
Period.
or the other. Tell us.
Tell us where they are.
Yeah.
Just, that's all that's important. All the rest it'll work itself out. But tell us where the kids are, and most of this stuff will go away.
You know, I told Chad here a while back on an interview that he needed some time to get away from Laurie, to think about how much his life has changed since I guess the day that he met her. And we don't know exactly when. And at this point, I really don't care. But Chad, you've had some time now to be away from her, to visit with your children, to visit with your grandchildren. And you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this worth Laurie? And I can tell you right now, not no, but hell no.
Think about, Chad, think about how you would feel if this were your grandchildren. How would you feel? The Christian thing to do would be it doesn't matter what Laurie wants. The Christian thing to do would be doing the Christian thing, which would be telling us where our kids are. Be truthful.
Where are the children? Where are the children? Where are the children? That's all we want to know. And I hope that this time alone in his life there's reflection. And I think the faster he can drop her like a hot potato, the better his life is going to be.
I don't care if he drops her or not. I don't care what they do with each other. It makes me no difference.
Business.
Just tell us where the kids are and we'll be out of your life altogether. We'll be gone.
Larry and Kay, thank you so much for speaking with us.